Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters of the Week video. Haven't done one of these in a while where basically I go to a website. It's a nice one that actually does a random generator of cryptids, and in this case it landed on this one. This is fascinating because this is apparently a cryptid that is a reptilian humanoid-like creature. Could also be called a Gill-Man or Lizard Man, or could be called something else, maybe even something real life, which I'll mention more here in a minute. Unfortunately, there are some red flags associated with this cryptid too. I'll mention that towards the end, but otherwise, you're looking at a picture of it here. This one goes by several names, but for this video, I'm going to call it its most common name, which is known as the Thetis Lake Monster. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating info associated with this cryptid. Those of you that are in an area in Canada that I'll mention in just one moment, who knows, you might get a chance to see this creature up front and close. So what is this Thetis Lake Monster? Well, another name for it is known as the Canadian Lizard Man. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it's also known as a Gill-Man or other type of reptilian humanoid creature. It's basically found there in Vancouver Island, Canada. So if you go there or if you're local to that area, who knows? Again, you might have a chance to see it, but otherwise, this is its physical description. By the way, the location itself that you're going to see the creature is Thetis Lake, hence why it's known as the Thetis Lake Monster. But this is what you're going to look out for. You're going to look for a creature that is, again, humanoid sized, as apparently just above your average height of a person. It is covered in silvery type scales, or in other cases, it seems to be more along the lines of a greenish type hue associated with it. Could be considered more of a mishmash involving a reptile and a humanoid. Overall, about maybe 5 feet tall, and it has these very large barbed spikes on top of its very large head. And it also has these webbed feet and webbed hands as well. In fact, those webbed feet and webbed hands have some type of talons or some type of claws that are associated with it too. But otherwise, it's also known to have a very monstrous face and then also big ears too. You could just imagine that this creature utilizes all of those features in order to perfectly live within that environment, within the lake itself, there at Thetis Lake. But it also has the capability, of course, of coming up on land and then being able to interact with humans in this case, at least sporadically, but imagine it's more on the lines of trying to hunt for other type of animals. But yes, people have encountered this creature. In fact, one of the first known sightings associated with this creature was back in 1972. So how about that? A little over 50 years from this date, August 22nd to be specific. That's when 2 local teens claimed, at least according to them, that they were chased away from that lake or from the beach area associated with Thetis Lake. So they stated it was this. They were there just, I guess, hanging out in the lake. I don't know if they were fishing or doing something else. But all of a sudden, they saw something that they thought looked like Gill-Man from the creature from the Black Lagoon. This is that famous black and white movie that showcases a very reptilian / humanoid creature coming out from a body of water. So they stated it looked exactly like that. It started actually chasing them, so much so to the point that one of the boys actually got slashed on the hand by this creature. Remember I was mentioning earlier about those talons or whatever it has with regards to its hands and its webbed feet? Well, apparently it used it. It also has these barbed fins as well, and who knows if that was maybe part of it that slashed the boy. But they ended up running and escaping and then going to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's where they started an investigation there. And then that's where they were able to describe to the police exactly what they saw. In fact, their statement was it was roughly triangular in shape, about 5 feet tall and 5 feet across at the base. And so the police themselves were doing this investigation, but they were trying to figure out, obviously, if something else was happening, if there was some other type of natural occurrence. But then, lo and behold, 4 days later, after this encounter, or after at least the story was given, there was another encounter. Apparently, two other men, in this case older men, spotted the creature right there on the opposite side of the lake. And then, according to them, they didn't have any chased experience like this creature running after them, but instead they just saw it come out of the water, look around, and then go back into the water. And in their case, it almost matched what the creature in their encounter was with the creature that the boys had as well. In fact, they stated it was shaped like an ordinary body, like a human being body, but it had a monster face, and it was scaly with a point sticking out of its head, and it had great big ears. And then finally, it had again the scaly, silverish blue type skin associated with it. So the police took down that information as well with regards to their investigation. But here's where the red flags come into play. As it turns out, between those four witnesses, you would imagine that would have to be one of those groups of two, because what happened next was this. Two of them came forward and they stated that, nope, sorry, our actual story is a hoax. They did it to get attention and who knows what other reasons, maybe monetary, who knows. But either way, though, it could have been the two boys or it could have been the two men, but that ended up creating some kind of discord with the investigation, because obviously the police are now thinking that it's something else, like people are just doing something that they shouldn't be doing and making things up, or and that's the extreme end, or on the lighter end, they are spotting something that is real. And this is where it comes into this. A week later, a man ended up coming forward stating that his pet tegu lizard, which you're looking at a variation or a picture of here, was lost. It got lost somewhere in that area, so he was thinking that this is the creature that could be around that location. In fact, it can grow up to 4 feet long and is considered very, very aggressive. So that experience that the boys had in terms of this thing chasing them and then scratching them, and then the height almost being the same, the look as well, that's where the police ended up just closing the investigation outright, and then that was it. That was the end of the Thetis lake monster. They stated, the police did at least, that it was that missing tegu lizard. But ever since then, there have been more sightings associated with this creature as well. In fact, the actual lake itself just spans so long that there's bound to be either more of these creatures or more encounters associated with this solitary creature. And so people, even though the police have closed everything as far as the investigation, people to this day still think that no, the Thetis lake monster is out there, it's roaming around, and it's just going to be a matter of time until someone else has any kind of situation with them. By the way, including other locations, apparently this creature or variations of it has been spotted in Ohio, Delaware, Louisiana, North Carolina, and then other places as well in Canada. Crazy stuff, right? Could this be one creature? Could this be a family of them? Could they all be linked in some way, like different versions of each other? Who knows? Could it be an actual real creature like the tegu lizard, or could it be its own type of cryptid? Who knows on that part? But otherwise, that's all the info associated with this Thetis lake monster. But if someone has something else I might have missed, maybe something more local, those of you there that are in the Vancouver Island area, maybe by the Thetis lake, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.